Yeah.
Do you have any more? No?
no.
You're fresh
I'm
out?
fresh out.
Okay, well, we only have one more. Let's see. All right. John Flynn from Glen Cove, New York asks, I have decided to put my house on the market, and since I have sold properties in the past that I owned, I have decided to market this one myself.
Oh.
If you were trying to get my listing, what benefits would you be offering me to convince me that you can net me more money? Wow, that's
John Flynn.
that's all yours. You want?
Well, what's the value of having a real estate agent?
We could role play.
Versus...
I'm John.
Okay, John Flynn.
So tell me, Diane.
Well, that's probably how a for sale by owner would be.
That's right. That's the body language. So
what are you going to do?
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
Well, I could market your property and expose it and communicate, network with other agents and get qualified buyers. Also help getting the once you have a buyer and an offer, it's not just about the price. I think a lot of times sellers are so fixated on the price, they don't understand they get all, I guess, excited about the price. They don't think about the whole offer. And that's what an agent is good to have, to be able to review the offer, make sure you have a qualified buyer. Just because someone has a pre-approval doesn't mean that they're 100% qualified or have the best qualifications. So what I can offer is my advice and expertise and experience from that you won't have as an owner, you know. You don't sell your houses every day, and it's not just putting it up on the internet and putting pretty pictures up and showings. There's a lot to it.
Good. I'll give him
what would you do?
Where do I sign? Well, it's an education process, I think. I think Mr. Flynn probably has good experiences, but maybe he doesn't know that it's not just whether he was successful in selling the house in the past or not. Have you ever seen a for sale by owner that, well, they saved the commission, so they saved, maybe it was a co-broke, instead of paying 5%, they paid 2.5%, but they sold the house for maybe 5% less
absolutely.
Than they could have. So you say, well, it was only 5%, and, well, 5%, you were only saving 2.5%. You actually lost money. And
I think that they go in thinking that they're, okay, well, I'm saving all this money by not paying the real estate agent, so I'll be willing to take less for the property.
Right.
But then they don't realize that they've lost money. The commission, they could have gotten even more from an agent.
Right.
Working with an agent.
And they're also, for sale by owners, I think, generally are in a position where they overprice rather than price right, which generally means price aggressively, because they're dealing one-on-one with the buyer. There's no buffer there, no intermediary. Or if they're dealing with a broker who's bringing the buyer, it's a buyer's broker, and they're still at a disadvantage. There's just no buffer.
Yeah, and the buyer's broker is going to have comparables and be able to negotiate.
Well, it could be even like an expression that the seller, if they're face-to-face, communicates to the buyer or the buyer's broker, or a hesitation in their voice. Good negotiators in our business who work for sellers sort of plan out what they're going to say.
Sure.
When they're going to say it, how soon to call back, how soon to answer that phone, when to send a text. I mean, it's sort of like conducting a symphony.
Sure.
And if there's no buffer there, I work with my buyers, and I should say my sellers, and some of them are builders, whatever. We sort of brainstorm a little bit about how to approach the offer.
The strategy.
Yeah, you have to. And I think a seller that's a for sale by owner has, no one to
It's on their
consult
own,
with.
yeah.
Yeah. So, no, that would be my answer. Oh, but
And
as far as what we can do for them that they can't do themselves, we can't really do anything more. I mean, the marketing, everyone can do marketing now.
Yeah,
It's the knowledge of how to handle the
The situations.
negotiations. And with overbidding and handling the network of brokers with broker open houses and all that.
and negotiating the inspection and issues that come up, a lot of times sellers will take it more personally than an agent will, where an agent can sit back and kind of diffuse the situation and press to negotiate in the best interest of the seller, where the seller might react in a way that does a disservice to them.
Right. So I think the other part of the equation that we haven't talked about is brokers have relationships with other brokers.
Yeah.
These other brokers have buyers. So for a seller who doesn't have relationships with the people that, I'm not saying they control the market, but they certainly...
They're in it.
They make the market.
Sure.
You know, we're as professionals, we know who the players are, so to speak, and the different personalities, and, we have relationships with them. So those relationships translate into showings, and it translates sometimes into higher prices.
And a smooth transaction, and
Because they know, in at least in a good market, there's competition, and there's a little bit of aggressive nature in some of these negotiations, and a good broker can yield more in the end
sure.
for the seller. So for sale by owner, I don't see it for the most part. I think
As a money saver.
you're trying to save a couple of bucks, and I think you're costing yourself a lot. Plus, it's aggravating. Selling a house by yourself, you gotta do work.
Sure.
You gotta be a broker,
Yeah, and there's disclosures and legal,
I mean, I could probably, if I had to operate on myself, read a book and figure out how to do it, but I'd pay a doctor. It's the same sort of thing. That's a silly one. But what about all the people that do their own taxes?
sure.
Well, I got TurboTax. I can, save money on the accounting fees.
Yeah,
You ever do your own taxes?
no.
I did it
Not
once.
since I've been in real estate.
I had the worst migraine ever. So I would think that selling your own house would sort of be like a bad experience for a lot of people if they didn't know what they were doing and didn't do it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So-
is.
So, John, I hope that answers your question.